Let's move to football. The rest of this episode is going to be college football based. We'll get back to basketball stuff likely later in the week. We're going to have another list of guys starting tomorrow. I can't wait for it. And some news to drop later in the week with another Sleepers edition. But for today, we're going to talk about Michigan football, and then we're going to talk about Michigan State football a little bit as well. Michigan football. Are they the best team in the country? Because it feels to me like this team is very good, as they've been the last couple years. Obviously, they have the big names on the offensive side of the football. J.J. McCarthy, for the most part, looks great this season. Blake Corum is back. He's fantastic. Roman Wilson has emerged. He leads the country in receiving touchdowns. That's a three-headed monster that I would put up there with pretty much any team in the country. And it's not just skill position guys. Like, they're pretty good in the trenches. They're winning games the Michigan way, the ugly, just grind you down, suffocate you on defense, etc. Like, Michigan football is for real. They've been for real, and they're here to stay. That's how I feel about this team. The interesting thing to me is that for the first time that Michigan's been really good, you look around the country and everybody looks vulnerable. Like, Georgia is almost losing to Peyton Thorne. And like, Brock Bowers had to go superhuman Gronk mode to save them from that disaster. Alabama's down. I think Texas is probably the other team you'd throw out as maybe the best team in the country. And I mean, Texas was in a dogfight with Kansas in the third quarter without
Florida State dogfight with Boston College, and had some breaks in the Clemson game.
Yeah. And then you look back, like, a lot of Michigan's biggest threats, I think, are in this division. They have to get through Penn State, who has looked really good, but again, dogfight with Northwestern for much of this game. And Ohio State looks really good. That win against Notre Dame is really going to matter for them, I think, looking down the road. Like, had they lost that game, I think it's a totally different season for them. So I don't know. I see this as a door is wide open for the first time in Jim Harbaugh's tenure at Michigan, even with how good those teams have been. I think the door is wide open. Do you think that that is the correct read on Michigan's place in college football this season?
Yeah, no, I think it is. And I think that the emphasis should be put on more so about the door being open outside of Michigan's football team actually being good, because they're always good. Like, they were good last year. They were good the year before that. It was just that there was no team in the country that was beating the Georgias. Like, there was no teams in the country that were beating these other teams. And I think that Michigan is a team that they're really good, but they do have flaws as well. But they're very minuscule, I would say. Like, it'd be like a nitpicking type thing. Like, last year, it was so special before Corum got hurt that Corum and Edwards were like damn near two of the best running backs in the country. Edwards hasn't been able to get it going this season. Obviously, it hasn't affected them up to this point, just because they've been able to do other things. Roman Wilson stepped up on the outside. J.J. McCarthy has been pretty solid, pretty good as well. So I don't want to say solid to come across as hating. J.J. McCarthy has been good outside of the Bowling Green game, which he was still good. He just threw picks.
Yep.
But the only thing I'll push back on is that this just can't be the number one team in the country, because they have not played anybody. Unfortunately, like, they haven't played anybody. Yes, it is a road game at Nebraska. Nebraska is never an easy place to play. Michigan fans know that all too well. Not an easy place to play. Nebraska is a bad football team, and I can look at other teams and just go win for win type situation. I just think it's a team that deserves to be ahead of them. Like, Florida State beat LSU on a neutral. Florida State beat Clemson at Clemson, very tough place to play. So just at this point, not to Michigan's fault, I just can't put like those teams above a Texas either. Texas wins at Alabama. Alabama might be down in some people's eyes, but they're still a really good football team. And they went into Tuscaloosa and won. Like, you just can't go win for win and matchup for matchup in my head and put Michigan above those teams as far as rankings. But that's not to take away from Michigan actually looking around the country and being like, this is our season to get these guys, because we actually do have a good football team. And I don't think the country has that dominant, absolutely juggernaut football team this year.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I am not here to advocate for them being the number one team in the country. I think it's a Georgia spot until Georgia blows it. And I don't think like grinding out a rivalry win on the road against Auburn to me isn't like, oh, they need to drop in the rankings. They didn't play great and they look vulnerable, but they're still the number one team in the country until proven otherwise. This Michigan team, to me, they feel a little top heavy. Like I think their big names are superstars, and that's great. Like defensively, they've held every single team they've played 5 games. Nobody scored more than 7 points against them. I don't know if that's because I think this defense is elite or if it's because of the teams they're playing. It's probably a mix. Like I don't know if UNLV or Nebraska would get to 28 against anybody, and they got to 7 against Michigan. Is that a credit to Michigan, or is it a, I don't know, is it damaging to who they were playing? It's probably a mix of both, but it, like, just the names on defense of this team don't scare me as much as the last couple seasons. Like, I know they're playing great, but I don't view this defense as having like 3 to 4 guys that I think could be NFL guys defensively the way they've had the last couple of years. And then offensively, like I said, those 3 guys are phenomenal. Corum, McCarthy, Wilson, I think, is probably the best 3-headed trio at those 3 positions any team has on the offensive side of the football, other than maybe one of the Pac-12 teams. But outside of that, I'm a little scared. I don't think their receiving threats are much of a threat at all. Like, Cornelius Johnson's the second best receiver on this team. He has 1 touchdown on the year. Roman Wilson has 8. Colston Loveland, I think, is emerging and looks great as a tight end. But to me, the receiver group is a little bit down, and this is going to sound crazy. I don't even really think Roman Wilson's that good. I know he's had some highlight catches and his numbers are stupid, but I think, like, there's a world where they play Penn State at night at Penn State, or they play Ohio State, and the team just says, we're just going to take away Roman Wilson.
Yeah, Roman Wilson would be the third. Like, Roman Wilson, no disrespect to him, I just don't think he's the number 1 receiver on like a national championship college football level team.
Yeah. And his numbers back it up. Like, his numbers are video game numbers. They're stupid. But I still view him as a guy, as a great defense could take him away. And if they take him away, what happens? Like, I don't love the secondary options here. Donovan Edwards, it looks horrible, for lack of a better word. And it hasn't mattered because he's their backup running back. They have Corum, and they're up 30 in all these games. But, like, Donovan Edwards is not running the ball the way he has in the last 2 seasons. He's averaging 3.3 yards per carry this year. It's 2.5 yards less than Blake Corum is per touch. Last year, it was very much like a thunder and lightning. You got to sprinkle them both in, and it's dynamic. This year, it's like we're trying to give Donovan Edwards the ball because he's Donovan Edwards, and he's not doing anything with it. So I don't know. I just like, they feel thin. Like, outside of those 3 guys, I'm worried about what happens if either, like, someone takes away Roman Wilson, or God forbid somebody just struggles or goes down or has a hiccup here. I don't love the options outside of that. Now, it's nitpicking because Michigan's really damn good. They're probably the favorite in every game they play this season. But to me, yeah, in the question of, like, is it their title to lose? Are they the favorite? I think it comes down more to the teams outside of them and health for Michigan than it does, like, Michigan taking a leap forward beyond what they've been the last couple of years. Let me ask you this. If you had to, you have to pick one team in the country in college football, and if you correctly assess the team and you pick the winner who will win the national champion, you get $100,000. If you don't, you can't see your dog for the next calendar year. You have to give me an answer too. You're not pressed out and not giving me an answer. What is the team that you pick? Because if I'm being honest, it's either Michigan or Ohio State for me.
Not a Big Ten team for me.
Really?
No. Huh. I think I'd go Florida State. I think I'd go Florida State.
Say goodbye to your dog, man. I'm sorry.
Say goodbye to your dog.
He's going to be in good hands. That's all I'm saying. Like, but man, Florida State, they're your favorite to win the national championship?
Yeah.
I mean, Cade Klubnik had them in hell.
And they won.
Okay. I would be very surprised if Florida State makes the playoff, let alone wins it all.
Really?
Like, I think they're going to drop one at some point.
They'll be there.
Okay. All right. Maybe I got to tap in and buy into Florida State a little more. The obvious answer to me would have been Georgia still, if not this. But I think if you're skeptical of Georgia, I think it's got to be Michigan or Ohio State.
No, I think I'll go. Georgia would probably be my second choice. I'm baffled that these great SEC teams are ending up with quarterbacks like Carson Beck and Jalen Milroe. Like, what do we do? Like, can't you not go get any quarterback you want?
Yeah, it feels like they didn't play the transfer market great this year.
Yeah,
You
like,
know?
why is Sam Hartman not at Alabama right now?
Somebody really dropped the bag, not just stealing Drake May. I know there were rumors on that, but like, good Lord, walk into whatever Tobacco Road, walk right down that road, pull up in your Argyle striped sweaters and rip that man away from Chapel Hill.
I don't think he could have though. Didn't he transfer from Bama?
Drake May?
Yeah,
I don't think so.
yeah, no, he did.
He transferred from Bama to North Carolina? No,
Yes.
he decommitted.
Oh, he did.
I think.
Oh, I thought he transferred from Bama.
Says he flipped his commitment from Alabama to North Carolina.
Okay, my
And then,
apologies.
but then this offseason, he turned down two $5 million deals.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
All right, I might be, I might be out on Drake May because I don't know if his decision making is good. That's crazy.
Yeah,
That's wild.
So, okay, my final college football at large take that I think does play into Michigan a little bit here. I think given the fact that there is no dominant team across the board, like Georgia's good. They're still probably the team to beat to me, but I think they could lose to anybody. Like there's 7 teams I think could beat Georgia any given day. I think when we get to the college football playoff, when it's just 4 teams left, whoever the 4 teams are, you can pick them out of the hat. You're going to have at least one from the SEC, at least one from the Big Ten, probably the ACC winner, probably the Pac-12 winner, if somebody runs the table. There you go. And, Texas is obviously in that as well. Wow, that could be a complicated playoff. If imagine if Florida State's undefeated, Texas is undefeated, a Pac-12 team's undefeated.
Yeah, these teams are gonna start playing, but that I just don't see that. Yeah, if it does get to that, but there's no way it ends like that.
I mean, if there's an undefeated team from all 5 conferences, that's very doable. Like either USC or Washington or Oregon is undefeated. Michigan or Ohio State is undefeated. Georgia's undefeated.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So you Georgia, Michigan or Ohio State, somebody from the Pac-12, Florida State, and Texas. What the hell do you do?
Yeah, I don't know. That'd be wild. You're gonna start looking at like wins and shit like that, like actual like analytics.
That would be crazy. We're getting ahead of ourselves. That'd be crazy. But my point is, whoever the final 4 teams are, I think what it will come down to this year truly is quarterback play. And like if we get to a final 4, just imagine a world for me here that's Carson Beck, Bo Nix, JJ McCarthy, and Quinn Ewers. Shit's gonna get interesting. That's all I'm saying. Like,
except we see what playoff JJ looks like.
I know. That's kind of what I'm saying. Like it might. I think if it got down to those 4 teams, I think I'm on team Quinn Ewers.
That's crazy. Which is crazy.
JJ's good though. He's been good. Bowling Green was bad, but he's making throws like on the run. Like you're squinting and you can see a little of the crazy comps.
I still don't see those, but yes, he's played really. When is their like next game when they actually like play? Well, what's the next hardest game for them?
They don't play anybody good until, they play Michigan State and that was a little joke. Sorry.
Facts.
They're at Penn State. That's the first true tough game.
That's okay.
Everything else is like over a touchdown favorite.
Gotcha. That's crazy. They got opportunities.
They do have opportunities. Can you give me like Barks Root Beer, Caleb Williams?
No.
No, there's no. I'm not allowed to do any Caleb Williams comp for JJ.
No.
What about like?
I'll give you handsome Squidward faced Drake May.
What is it with handsome Squidward face? Like JJ is objectively handsome.
He has a very like box head.
Do you realize like you can't just call every good Michigan player handsome Squidward? Iggy Brasdakis being handsome Squidward was funny because they actually kind of looked alike, and Squidward was ugly, and Iggy was ugly.
I'm gonna make a little side by side thing, and you'll just see it.
JJ McCarthy's just a good looking dude. You don't need to go handsome Squidward.
Please relax.
What about like? I feel like he's Shea Patterson, but like what's a nice version of Shea Patterson?
He's like Oh,
Baja Blast Shea Patterson.
is he tall Baker Mayfield?
I like that. You can win a national title with tall Baker Mayfield.
You could.
You
You also
absolutely
could not.
Is he? Is he youth church?
Bro, you're telling me that's not a handsome Squidward face build face?
Not at all. That's just a handsome dude.
Okay, I'm gonna put them next to each other.
It's just a handsome dude. You're not allowed to do this with every Michigan player.
It's not everyone, but
the only times you bring out handsome Squidward is for Michigan players. That's
the
it.
Squidward fits, and Michigan State players are ugly.
I had one other JJ thing real quick.
Sorry.
No, it's just all over the place. I'm gonna be really sad when I remember it because it was funny, but now I don't have it. All right, let's move on.